what if I told you I could turn your stress into a superpower? Now, I'm going to come back to that in a moment. So I'm going to tell you a story about what happened to me last night. Now, I'm involved in the King's Award for Enterprise for Worcestershire. I'm part of the committee that promote the awards to businesses in Worcestershire. Our aim is to encourage more people to enter and trying to find a way of making more businesses win. It's a great thing to be involved with, and you should really check it out. We'll probably put a link below. Every year we have an event that we invite past winners to, and then we invite people who have shown an interest in entering the awards, and we try and dig deep into what is the magic sauce that, the magic ingredients that these businesses that have previously won have found to allow them to win. So try and sort of educate the audience. Now, we've done this in a very typical way each year. We have a set period for each of the businesses on stage, and they talk about their journey. So this year we thought we'd change it up a little bit. So we reduced the amount of time that each person had on stage, and then invited them back onto stage to do a question and answer session. Now, I came up with the idea. I thought it would be really interesting. You'd be able to dig deep into their stories. But then realised that because I'd suggested it, then the responsibility of being the host for that part fell on my shoulders. So I've done a lot of presentations in the past, and it's quite stressful. Everybody says presenting is really difficult, but there is always a process that I go through, and I find that I can get to the point where I'm confident in what I have to talk about, and I get on stage and deliver it. Where this event was causing me a lot more stress, and that was because I could only control half of the conversation. I could only ask the questions. I had no idea what the answers would be from each of the panel guests on the stage. So this made me think about how I handle stress, how I deal with stress every day. Now, no doubt, if we all close our eyes now and think about what's on our plate, I should imagine most people have some form of stress in their life, some things that are bothering them, some things that are driving them around the bend and causing them anxiety. So if we look at what stress is something that you can't change, a situation that you can't actually have any agency in, something that goes on regardless of what you do. Now, I've always looked at stress and put it in one of two boxes. I've put it in a box that's stress, that's the thing I can't control, and a box that is called pressure. Those are the things that I can control. Now, pressure is great in many ways. I mean, I'm in a creative industry. We like pressure. We like the pressure of the deadline. We like to feel like we have to have something to us on top of us that is focusing us on an outcome. So being able to alleviate the pressure by activity means that it's not really stress. It's just pressure. So it's a really important lesson to learn there. If you can change the situation of that stress, it's not stress, it's pressure, and pressure is good. Pressure allows you to be brilliant. It brings out the best in a lot of people. Diamonds are made from pressure. It's all about getting to the good stuff. It's shortcutting to the kind of the important bits. In creativity, it's what drives us forward. So how can you use this for your benefit? So if we close our eyes now, take a moment to think about all those things that are causing us stress. It might be you're late for a meeting. It might be you're not prepared for that meeting. It might be a bill that you can't afford to pay. It might be your boss has asked you to do something that you don't want to do. It might be standing on a stage in front of an audience of 40 people who are influential people and presenting something that you can't control. Now, look at each one of those things on your list and think about the things that you can control and put a tick next to it, and think about the things that you can't control and put a cross next to it. Now, take that list and in your mind, take the list that has got the X next to it and put that in a folder called tomorrow. Then look back at the list that you've got to deal with today. This is the good list. Those are things that you can do. It might mean you can put a few more hours in at the end of the day to alleviate the pressure for that deadline. It might be that you have to make a phone call to discuss the problems about that bill. You know, it might be things, there are things in most cases that you can do to change the scenario for the better. And this is the list that you use. The list that you've put off till tomorrow isn't about ignoring the situation, because in that list for tomorrow, it should really be just things that you can't control. It might be different tomorrow. You might be able to control them tomorrow. Things might have changed. But ultimately, those are things out of your control. So if they're out of your control and you can do nothing about them, then you shouldn't worry about them. It's not your problem. Now, I'm not saying ignore those things. I'm not saying, you know, you could argue that the problem with if you can't afford to pay a bill, you could say, well, I'll worry about that tomorrow. But that's not what I'm saying. In most cases, communication is important, and those things that, you know, you might be tempted to throw into the deal with tomorrow can be resolved through communication. I'm not kicking things down the road. It's about giving things the space to resolve themselves and giving yourself the power to resolve the things that you can resolve. And that is the long and the short of it. Pressure is something that's really positive. Stress, you can categorize as either stress or pressure and then ignore the things that you can't control. There we go. So coming back to the story, how did I get on with the presentation? Well, I did a lot of prep. I did a lot of preparation and I planned well. So when I got up onto the stage, yes, I was nervous. Yes, I was under some stress, or it felt. But then I realized that as soon as I started talking, it was just pressure. It was just pressure of the environment, and being able to control the bits that I could control meant I could alleviate the pressure. I could manage the situation. As luck would have it, the other guests on the stage, the panel, were wonderful. They were very professional and they engaged really well. So the stress wasn't really stress, because I prepared for most of the answers that they gave and was able to flick around and change things on the fly, because I'd done enough preparation work to be able to find a way through the conversation. Now, if I hadn't done that preparation, if I hadn't done that work, then it would have been a stressful environment, because I wouldn't have been able to manage the situation and change what I was doing and alleviate the pressure. So there we go. That's the difference between pressure and stress. If you have any other subjects that you'd like us to talk about, then please do by adding us comments below. We'd welcome any kind of feedback. If you're enjoying this, then please do subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Thank you. So one thing you could be stressed about, it might be SEO on your website, but we have an answer, because here's a video all about SEO.